Welcome to another Cardano update. Before I start, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want to support the channel, and I hope you enjoyed this video. First, I want to talk about the Bitcoin chart. As you can see, Bitcoin is currently at $98,000 and it's very close to getting to that 2.618 extension that I gave you like a couple of months ago. I think that was almost like 3 months ago now, so this should not really surprise you. Now, of course, the minimum target for the third wave was only the 200% extension, and right now we are just overextending, and we'll see what happens at $101,000. I think once we get there, there's gonna be a lot of resistance because, 100k is the important psychological level, and I'm expecting a correction after that. Now, of course, we could still overextend to the 300% extension of the 1-2 setup right here, and that would also be fine. And keep in mind, this is Bitcoin. It could overextend even to the 3.618 in the third wave, so it's really hard to say where we will top, but at some point we will have to top. And right now, if we top at 100k, and by the way, only in the third wave, not in the entire cycle, then December could be a correction month for Bitcoin. Now, of course, that does not really line up well with the fact that in December, Bitcoin does not really go down, especially in a halving year. As you can see, in 2016, Bitcoin went up 30% in December, and in 2020 it went up 47%, so maybe we will not get a correction that takes like a couple of days, or actually weeks. Maybe we will get a very sharp correction that puts us at like 75k or so, and then we continue the pump. Keep in mind, these corrections are normal during a crypto bull market, and right now I believe we are in a bull market, so it would not surprise me to see something like this on the chart that happens in like 2 days, and then we get a pump that continues the bull market. And like I said, 30% corrections in the middle of a bull market are actually normal, especially on the altcoin charts. Bitcoin does it as well, but altcoins usually do it more. Now, if we do go down in December, we should go down at the beginning of the month, and the correction should take approximately, let's say, a week or two, and then we should continue. I still believe that it is possible for Bitcoin to start the fifth wave in December after we get the fourth wave. So the fourth wave does not have to take months, of course. We don't have to go sideways for another few months like we did over here. There's no time for that now, and as you know from the previous cycles, Bitcoin does not usually go sideways. This was something different right here, so we should still see a pump to about $255,000 by the end of the cycle. And it could get way above that, to be honest with you, just because this is Bitcoin we are talking about. In 2021, as you can see, it got to the 3.618 extension of the previous all-time high. Well, this is actually the trend-based Fibonacci extension, but still, it got to the 3.618. And in the cycle before that, it got above the 4.618. So as you can see, we have diminishing returns, but they're not that diminishing because we are still getting returns. I mean, here we went above the 4.618, and here we went to the 3.618, but maybe you could say that we would have gone to the 4.618 if it weren't for the pandemic. So this was a really weak cycle in my opinion, and I don't think this cycle will look the same as the 2020 cycle, actually the 2021 cycle. I think it will look more similar to the 2017 cycle, and as you can see here, we just went up in a straight line. Now, of course, keep in mind, we still had corrections on the way, and if you look at what we were doing in the halving year of the previous cycle, here we were also going up, and what do you know, we were going up in October, and we were going up in November, and then in December we actually had a correction, but as you can see, I mean, this is nothing too crazy. Now, you could look at this correction and maybe compare it to what we're doing right now. Of course, we are not getting a correction, at least not yet. And as you can see here, even though this does not look like a lot, here we actually went down about 10% in just 1 day. And I know that does not sound like a lot, but trust me, it's a lot, especially during a bull market. Now check this out. Here in January of 2017, which was the post-halving year, Bitcoin went down about 33% in 7 days, and then it recovered after that. So yeah, we need these corrections, and as you can see, Bitcoin gets them every couple of months. Here we got one in January, then we had one in March, then we had one in June that lasted until July, and then we had one in September. So as you can see, every 2 or 3 months, Bitcoin gets a correction and then it continues the pump. And right now we have been going up for some time. I mean, Of course, we have not been going up for like too long, but still, we are still going up right now. Now, of course, you could say that this pump could continue and this third wave could just overextend, and that's also a possibility. Now, this is not a Bitcoin video. I also want to talk about Cardano, but keep in mind that whatever happens to Bitcoin right now is very, very important. And not only Bitcoin, but Bitcoin dominance is also important. As you can see, Bitcoin dominance just hit a new cycle high, which is very, very interesting because I was expecting Bitcoin dominance to actually go down in November, and it did not go down, it actually went up. Now, of course, you could say that it went down right here. It went down from about 60% to about 58%, but that's not really a lot, and I was expecting a lot more than just that. And if you look at the monthly chart, right now there is a green candle on the chart, and if we close this candle green, it's going to be something entirely different because, as you know from my previous videos, because you obviously watched them, Bitcoin always closes a red wick in November. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if Bitcoin actually closes a green wick. If that happens, I think we will actually start the altcoin season in December and not in January of next year. Because as you can see here in the previous cycle in 2016, we closed a red wick in November, and then we had another cycle high in December. But right now we had two green wicks in a row, which leads me to believe that we will top earlier than people are expecting. Now, of course, if we do not top, and if we continue going up in December, we could even get to about 66% dominance. Now, that's not going to kill the altcoins, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin will keep going up, so you cannot expect altcoins to hit new cycle lows, of course not, but you can expect them to underperform against Bitcoin if that happens. Now, I don't know if that will happen. In my opinion, I think we are very close to topping on the Bitcoin dominance chart, so it's only a matter of time until it starts going down. And once that happens, then we should get a huge third wave of the third wave on most charts. Now, of course, not many charts have completed a 5-wave move to the upside, but as you can see, Cardano has completed a 5-wave move, and this looks complete to me. Now, of course, it could overextend a bit, and I would not be surprised to see it at like 95 cents, maybe even $1. In the 5th wave before we get a second wave right here. And just so you know, the 5 waves right here, the yellow 5 waves, will only complete the first wave right here of a main third wave move to the upside, which is somewhere around here. And that is the main third wave of this very big 1-2 setup that we started all the way back in June of last year. So things are obviously bullish right now, but do not be surprised if Cardano gets a correction, and if it does get a correction, which is very, very likely right now, because Bitcoin will also get a correction very, very soon, in my opinion. Now, only if it reacts to the 2.618 extension in the third wave. And if Bitcoin goes down, then of course Cardano will go down. And here is a support zone for the second wave. If we get new highs in the 5th wave right here, then of course I will adjust the support wave, but this should give you an idea of where Cardano will land once we get some kind of correction. And don't expect the correction to take like months or even weeks. We could get a very crazy wick on a daily chart, and that could be it. That could be the correction. We could drop to like 55 cents overnight, and then we could recover and continue the pump. So yeah, this could be very, very fast. So if you somehow did not buy Cardano down here, which, if you didn't, I mean, come on, that's what the support zone was for. But if you did not buy down here and you are still planning on buying, even though, well, I would not say it's a bit too late, but, it already went up like 3x from this low. So if you want to buy again, you should probably wait for a correction. But once that correction happens, then don't expect it to take weeks, because Cardano does not only have time for that, and if we are in a main third wave, it should not take weeks to complete only the second wave of that main third wave, so this should be very, very fast. Now, what would a third wave look like of the third wave? Well, it should look something like this right here. As you can see here in the previous cycle, we had a 1-2 setup after we completed the second wave move down right here, and the first wave confirmed that the second wave move down was in. As you can see, the first wave went above the first wave high right here, which is exactly what happened right now. And then after that, it had a correction, and what do you know, this correction happened at the exact same time of the cycle, and we had this right here, this drop. This was let's actually check out how much it was. This was a 43% drop in 2 days, and as you can see, we tested the bull market support band, and then we went sideways for like 2 months. And why is that? Well, That's because here, during this time, Bitcoin dominance was going up and it was going to new cycle highs. And like I said, this happened at the exact same time as this cycle, so I don't know if we will copy this. It all depends on what Bitcoin dominance does. But if we top on the Bitcoin dominance chart this month and we do not actually continue going up in December, then it is very likely that in December, Cardano starts doing this and starts the third wave of the main third wave. And as you can see here, in this third wave, Cardano went from about 12 cents to about $1.50. And in that third wave, we went above the 100% extension of the previous all-time high. So maybe we'll do the exact same thing in this cycle. And if we are doing the exact same thing, that should put us above $3.16 in the third wave of the third wave. And while I'm still expecting Cardano to hit somewhere between $5 to $8 in this cycle, like I said, $12 is still possible if you look at it from a cycle perspective, and if you judge this based on the fact that Bitcoin will most likely get to about $255,000 in this cycle, maybe even more. And if that happens, then of course Cardano will also be able to get a huge pump, maybe to like $10 or so. But we'll see what happens. And that's what I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.